I am also excited to be part of this Nigeria Internet Governance Forum here, which I think is a very important event looking at the theme of the discussion, achieving the digital economic development in the post-COVID-19 era. However, I think it is more important to discuss during COVID-19 era because only Almighty knows when we are going to live without COVID anymore. We are very optimistic and we are prayerful. However, we need to focus more on what we can do and achieve during the COVID than even after, because the COVID era is what we are witnessing today. As they say, is the new normal. And it is because of this our emphasis should focus more on how to utilize the period, this era of COVID-19, and fast-track the implementation, or rather achieving our digital economic development. Furthermore, as I earlier commended the forum and also the topic with just a minor amendment as I suggested, the topic still is very apt, particularly as I have been saying that COVID-19 pandemic is a pandemic in the real sense of the word. And it has completely changed the world. It has disrupted our activities in many ways. And we lost our beloved ones in our villages, our states, in our country, and even globally. A situation where your beloved one passes on, you can hardly commend that situation or be happy with it. However, there are positive things we are to learn from COVID-19. Most importantly, it is a time for us to fast-track the implementation of our digital economy in Nigeria. Most importantly, broadband becomes necessary today. Secondly, most of our activities are being conducted virtually today. People that were struggling to understand how important ICT was just a year ago, today they are so much inclined and addicted to ICT. Why? Because of their health condition. It is because of this, it could be a blessing in some ways, because we are compelled to fast-track the implementation of our digital economy agenda. Historically, you could recall that Mr. President has approved the expansion of the mandate of our Ministry of Communications and Digital Economy, and by extension, the mandate of the parastatals dealing with ICT. That was as a result of our request we forwarded to him, and he approved the request on 17 October 2019. That is by accommodating digital economy rather than just ICT, which is obsolete today. That was presented before the Federal Executive Council on 23rd October 2019. And we were mandated as well by Mr. President to immediately come up with national digital economy policy and strategy. We achieved that collectively, and Mr. President was very kind enough to us. He attended our event at the International Conference Center on 29th of November 2019, where he personally unveiled and launched our national digital economy policy and strategy for a digital Nigeria 2020 to 2030. Our initial plan was to achieve digital Nigeria within 10 years, but with COVID-19, most probably that could be achieved in the next 5 or 6 years. By having the policy in place, we have done one part of it. The remaining part is the implementation. And I'm glad to say that after approving the policy, we restructured the ministry, and we have been restructuring the ministry. And we also mandated the relevant parastatals that have a key role to play in digital economy, NCC, NIDA, and others, to immediately establish a department that will focus more on digital economy. That has been achieved in all the parastatals because they will play the key role of implementing the policy. Our own role is largely more of supervision and policy direction after producing the policy. So it is their responsibility to do that, which has already been achieved. And if you look at the activities of the ministry and the parastatals, you will see they are in line with the digital economy. And we are making progress a lot. Furthermore, as part of the implementation of digital economy, we also have our national broadband plan in place, 2020-2025, which is specifically on broadband penetration. The last time I contacted my colleagues, the report of broadband penetration of August 2020 was not ready, but I don't know whether it is ready now. But if we look into it, by end of July, we have achieved 42.02% of broadband penetration. In less than a year, we will be able to achieve at least 50% in our country, which is highly commendable. The broadband penetration of only 1 year now, starting from August this year to August last year, could be approximately 10%. Contrary to the previous years where broadband penetration averagely is 1.7% annually. So this is a clear indication that if that 10% can be achieved within a year, then it is also highly commendable. In addition, if we look at the contribution of ICT sector alone, and I have been saying this just as an independent sector, not digital economy sector, as an independent sector, the contribution of ICT to GDP by the end of last month was up to 17, in the second quarter, sorry, which is April, May, June, is up to 17.something%. This is only stand-alone ICT sector. And telecommunication sector grew up by more than 18% within the second quarter. Why I say ICT alone? Because there is a line of demarcation between ICT sector contribution to GDP and digital economy contribution to GDP. If it is ICT sector, it is only the stand-alone, what comes through only ICT. But if you say digital economy, it's the ICT sector plus all the digital services that are being provided in the country. So by implication, if you look at the contribution of financial institutions to GDP during the second quarter, you will discover more than 90% is under digital economy. Because all the activities being conducted through ATM, online purchase, e-commerce, online money transfer, whatever you conduct on virtual and digital platforms will be part and parcel of a digital economy. May not be part of ICT sector, but is part of digital economy. So by implication, a minimum of 90% of the financial institutions is under that, because most of the activities during lockdown were conducted virtually. That is why I presented that argument before the Federal Executive Council last week during our meeting, that digital economy should be computed independently in our GDP. Whenever the result will come up, they should capture digital economy, because Mr. President has started the diversification of our economy by leveraging on digital economy. When that is computed, most probably the contribution of ICT to GDP, or rather digital economy to GDP, could be more than 45%. So that is why we need to push for an independent computation to be conducted, where all the digital services being provided by the sector will be taken into consideration. So this is a clear indication that at least we are on track. And the journey so far is highly encouraging. However, there is no time for us to sleep. We need to continue to push harder. Achieving a digital economy, as I have been saying, is a collective responsibility. It's not restricted to one ministry or few parastatals. It's a responsibility of all. And that is the reason why we serve as the clearinghouse for all digital projects in the country to ensure that they are in alignment with the National Digital Economy Policy and other federal government policies and laws. That is the reason why we are supposed to clear each and every project before execution. Why? Because this is the role we are supposed to play, only to provide the supervision, the clearance, the guidance, and many more. But the implementation or achieving a digital economy in this country is a responsibility of all, including those in the public sector and those in the private sector. They must work together to achieve that. And as we all know, that this, as I said earlier, COVID-19 brought about why it is important to achieve that. TSA, Treasury Single Account, today is part of a digital economy. However, it was executed before the policy. Most of, like GIFMIS, IPPIS, they are part of that. The digitalization taking place in custom today, in immigration, and many other places, they are all part and parcel of our digital economy. Today, the virtual Federal Executive Council being coordinated by the ministry and powered by Galaxy is part of digital economy. The recent virtual Council of State chaired by Mr. President, they are all part and parcel of our digital economy. And we do hope that in our institutions of learning, they will soon join the trend of our digital economy. So I want to use the opportunity to thank all the stakeholders that what we have been doing so far is highly encouraging. And the achievement is not restricted to one person or one ministry or one institution. The achievement is for all. And I do hope that we will redouble our effort and ensure that in the next 1 year, more and more can be achieved. According to the U.S. Office of Statistics, digital economy in the U.S. created a new value of 86% in the United States of America today. Through digital economy, they have created more than 6.5 million new jobs in the U.S. This can be achieved even here in Nigeria, particularly if we focus more on digital innovation and digital entrepreneurship. These are the two most important aspects of our digital economy: digital innovation and also digital entrepreneurship. This is another policy of the federal government that we have been working on. That is National Policy on Digital Innovation and Digital Entrepreneurship, which will focus more in areas like applications, outsourcing, and many more. When that policy is ready, we are very much sure that we will be able to create many more jobs for our citizens. So I want to finally use the opportunity to thank the stakeholders for organizing this event, and I do hope that the forum would come up with so many recommendations for federal government to consider and implement them where necessary. Thank you very much for listening.